Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be installing a rival skid plate on a 2017 Polaris RZR XP Turbo. This is a full aluminum underbody skid plate setup. It comes with everything you need to offer full underbody protection. This episode proudly supported by Royal Distributing, Canada's Powersports leader. We're going to install a rival skid plate setup on a 2017 Polaris RZR XP Turbo. So this is a full aluminum skid plate. We bought our rival skid plate setups at Royal Distributing. Rival skid plates are manufactured in Russia and shipped over. The fit and finish of this product really is great. We've used rival skid plate setups in the past, so we know these are quality units that we can depend on. So it comes with 7 pieces. It comes with A-arm guards for the front, a front diff guard. It comes with like a front bumper section. Unfortunately, I don't think we can use any of these 4 pieces.
No, we won't be able to use the front 4 pieces because we have aftermarket lower control arms, and we have a Dragonfire gusset plate on it already, which won't allow that to work.
So what we'll be installing is mostly these last 3 pieces here.
The whole underbody and the section that will cover the engine transmission.
All new high quality mounting hardware and bracketry is included with the skid plate kit. All the hardware is 8.8 grade and looks really nice. The instructions are concise but sufficient to get the job done. The first step is going to be to remove the old stock skid plate and proceed with positioning the new one.
Okay, I'll lift it up and we'll get started.
This machine's already got Pro Armor trailing arm guards. I'm surprised they don't give you trailing arm guards. They give you everything else.
Yeah.
So the stock underbelly is pretty weak.
Definitely lacking here. That's where your feet are positioned when you're riding, and there's nothing there to protect you. A lot of the RZRs you'll see holes in the floor if they've had a bit of regular use.
I don't know about you, Dave, but like when I'm riding, I can feel branches hit my foot or my feet in the floorboards.
Definitely.
How thin is that? That's like 2-3 mils or something.
It's very thin. It's not very strong.
I mean, I guess they're trying to save weight and make us buy parts.
The skid plate that's factory is very basic. It starts here.
I wouldn't even call it a skid plate. I'd call it more of just like an underbelly pan.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it really provides, like on the old machine, I shattered mine. I think you broke yours too.
I broke mine.
And I believe, didn't you have a rival skid plate set up on your previous machine as well?
I did on a 1000 XP.
It's a quality product.
It works great. It really does. And you don't have to worry of something impaling your foot through the floor.
Which we've actually almost experienced a few times.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and take off the stock skid, the whole underbelly, all the pieces. Yep. What you see here is the Dragonfire gusset kit, right, Dave?
Yeah, it just ties in all your frame ends and shares the load.
It really thickens up the suspension mounting points there.
It pretty much doubles it all and shares it.
It doubles it up pretty much. Yep.
It's something that the earlier RZRs had a lot of issues with, and you literally rip the eyelets off.
I recommend these to everybody that gets a new RZR.
Yeah.
For the money, they're really worth it. So let's go ahead and We're gonna leave this section on this, the gusset. We'll take off the skid plate from the rear then. Proceed to remove all the bolts from the stock underbelly pan and remove it. Use caution when you're removing it. They're always full of junk under there and dirt.
Just find a lot of leftover mud.
Yep. There's no way of getting it out of there, right? So that's your stock underbelly pan. You can tell this thing doesn't really provide much protection. It's just a flimsy plastic. It's 2 pieces, so we'll get the rear off. Look what we found. What could that be? Let's have a look.
Oh, you should know what that is, Julia.
Did he tell you?
Yeah. Rip it out.
Do you want me to? Yeah.
Tear it out.
Yeah, we're fine. I think we're fine.
It's not important.
It didn't wrap. Yep, it didn't wrap.
Sweet.
Out.
Let's take it off and put a new belt on, then we're all back to normal.
I heard it.
Good time to take a peek underneath the razor and make sure everything's okay. Look at that. Is that going to play in the shaft?
No, it's not excessive.
No. It's just because the hanger bearings there, right?
Good time to pack some grease in the front and rear of that hanger bearing.
Just to keep the crud out.
It's definitely a weak.
So that's the hanger bearing. There's quite a bit of play in there, but I think that's normal. It's just because there's so much play in that rubber hanger bearing. You should think about getting that Sandcraft RCR bearing in this.
That's what I had in my last razor. It worked great.
Super ATV makes their own version now at a really nice price point.
Definitely look into that.
So here's a good chance to take a look at all the auxiliary lines. See these thinner coolant lines? Those are under your intercooler.
Right.
These are the coolant lines for your rad. And then that's your auxiliary water pump for the intercooler. It's electric. Cool. So we got some brackets here by the looks of it.
We're gonna pack some grease in this hanger bearing unit. Well, we can get at it.
The instructions they send you are pretty basic, but it is quite straightforward, and they include all the information you need.
That's gonna be fun. Not the greatest answer, but the best solution is to replace that with the
This helps. I found this helped me a lot on my 900.
It'll help
just to
propel
keep the
some
crap
water.
out. Yeah,
It'll draw some of the grease in maybe when it's done.
definitely won't hurt.
Better than nothing.
It's a factory loose zip tie. Don't torque that. That's top. That's torque the spec.
Probably a good time to change this.
Yeah, we might as well. Pop that off. Hey, hear me now. Yeah, 1900 mils, so just under 2 bottles. Dave decides it's a good time to drain the fluid in his transmission now, and since it's already out in the open. It's really easy to do this. It's 1 bolt to drain it and 1 bolt to fill it up. And it takes 1900 mils of AGL fluid to top it up. The XP1000 like that, it makes sense for fixing it.
Yep.
You can just replace the whole frame section. That's pretty neat. Got the Super ATV high clearance heavy duty front facing A-arms on here. Just the lowers.
Stock ones aren't much.
I don't think they've ever been really able to build a proper stock AR, nor do they want to.
They're from Super ATV also. They tend to bend very easy, the stock ones. That's wet back here because they keep these bushings
Really well glued, yeah.
because they tend to creak.
What are you removing, Jake?
Rock side.
Is that where the brackets go?
No, they go to the factory bolts right there. But trying to get in there.
Oh, will they slip under the rock sliders?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something notable there. I'm gonna have to do that too.
They'll sit up like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so if you have rock sliders, it's just an extra step. Nothing too complicated though.
No. The problem is you need a skid plate off to put the rock sliders on. So you gotta take them off, put the brackets on, put them back on.
A little more work.
Yeah.
This one, I believe, this will go right here. it means it's got to share the bolt.
My old skid plate was a Polaris aluminum skid plate, and I had the Super ATV Nerf bars on. I had to completely customize the Nerf bars after I put the skid plate on, because it was the same problem. So you remove that bolt completely, and now you're just taking that stock Torx T40 out, I believe it is.
Yep, it is a T40.
So Jake's mounting the skid plate auxiliary bracket, I'll call it.
The skid works really well. I had the same one on my last razor, and
You can tell right away the quality is really cool. They've got a video online of their facility.
really,
It's
I've never checked
insane.
that. I believe they're built in Russia.
Yeah, they're made in Russia. Oh man, the Russians make a good product, and you know what? They're one of the biggest off-roading fans country-wise, besides the United States and Canada. They've got a huge off-road community. Russia's bigger than Canada, isn't it?
Yes.
Land mass-wise.
I think it's the biggest country
Yeah,
in the world.
by land mass it is, yeah, followed by Canada. So they probably have better riding than we do. So that bracket went on no problem with the Super ATV heavy-duty Nerf bars and or rock sliders. They all mount the same, I believe. And it's a nice black crinkle finish like the rest of the
you don't
components.
really notice it.
You don't even see it's there. Once it gets a splash of mud, it'll just be part of it. So now we're doing the same on this side. Papa.
No, I live in Smithville and I work in Brentwood. Oh.
For that ATL is the transfer.
These Pro Armor trailing arm bars are they got a really thick chunky UHW on here.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how well built they were.
It definitely helps slide you over things. You can feel it sliding
Instead
over.
of grabbing, yeah.
It's definitely handy. Those arms get pretty beat up without them on. One thing that we added to it, they only mount in 2 locations.
Yep.
Sway bar link and the rear shock
Yep.
bolt.
Oh, you added
But
a
there's
bolt?
nothing at the front, and what ends up happening is dirt and mud gets between
Yeah.
the trailing arm and
Pushes
the guard,
it
and it
down,
actually
yeah.
separates it. Full
These brackets.
I don't know if you want to use the ladder or basically.
Now we're ready to position the rear section of the skid plate and test fit it.
Yeah. And then we're going to have to slightly modify this to make it work with the turbo. The 2 holes at the back will not line up when the 3 at the front are. So we're going to have to drill through this frame plate and make it full.
The drain plug's not in.
Oh, it is.
It is. It was just, I was waiting for it to stop.
Oh, the funnel popped out.
So we'll have to drill and tap to accommodate it to fit back here. The rest of it fits properly, and I don't think we'll have any issue with the front piece.
No.
I think it's just the turbo setup.
Yeah, all these holes seem to line up. These holes line up. The drain holes kind of line up. See? That's the only contact one. Wait till you see this tapers out differently than the floor does here, or than the brace does here. I think it's got a different like reinforcement piece here than the 1000 does.
It's not for the turbo, that's why. But on the XP, I do remember putting this on, and it did line right up.
Right up, yeah.
Which is slightly different.
Well, you can't expect it to line up on a machine that's not designed for it. The skid plates we got are specifically for a RZR 1000 XP, not for a turbo, which is why the rear two holes don't line up perfectly. They're definitely set up for an M6, like perfectly. Oh yeah, that cut thread, that's what it means, yeah.
M6 by 1.0.
Going in no problem now?
Yeah. Very basic thing to do. Like, it's not hard.
Oh, of course, especially when the hole's set up for you.
So there's not a lot of material you're going through.
Yeah, you're better off using your hand.
Yeah. That's what I feel. That impact driver.
Just one tap is enough to strip it, yeah. Some of the holes in the frame are pre-drilled and tapered, but they aren't tapped, so you need to tap them with an M6 by 1.0 tap. So these tap pretty easy.
Oh, yeah,
They're set up for an M6, yeah, they're tapered, they're ready to go. It's as easy as it gets when it comes to tapping.
And do we want to do all three at once, or just start with the one? And
Just the center one.
Okay.
Yeah, the other ones are solid.
Okay.
Oh, so the front and the rear center ones are slotted, that's neat.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
Especially for one person.
Yeah, if you're doing it by yourself.
use my head.
Make it a lot easier.
So Jake's gonna drill and tap a hole here because we don't have one, because this is a RZR Turbo, not a 1000 XP.
It'll work just fine. Small adjustment.
The rear two holes need to be drilled and tapped because on the RZR Turbo it appears that the frame section is a little different in the back than it is in the 1000 XP, so those holes don't line up where they're supposed to be, but it was pretty simple to fix that problem. The rest of the holes lined up just like they needed to. Make sure you have a good quality tap for the job. All these holes are simple to do, but you have to make sure you have the right equipment to get the job done. Lubricating the tap and the hole with oil helps with the procedure. Wearing safety goggles is also recommended to prevent any filings from getting into your eyes. They're not terrible.
No, some of their tools are.
Quite honestly, a lot of their tools aren't that bad, and when you factor in how cheap they are and the exchange warranty, I mean, for your average Joe.
Loctite. Just because the rear skid doesn't tend to have to come off again.
So we're gonna Loctite these in. What Jacob has done there is he's drilled and tapped out those holes, because on the RZR Turbo model here, it's slightly different in the rear, and this skid plate is designed specifically for a 1000 XP non-turbo. Everything should be perfectly fine. We just had to relocate two of the holes slightly back.
Oh, look at that. Perfect.
So that sucked it right in there, didn't it? It's
rectified
perfect.
that small issue, and we're good.
So that's turned into no issue at all now. You also tapped out these guys, right?
Yes.
So there's three holes there that are tapered and drilled from the factory, but they are not tapped, correct?
Correct.
So what did we tap them with?
6 mil by 1.0.
Perfect.
What do you
There's a tapered hole here we can tap, but then there's no hole here if you want me to drill it and tap it here.
Why don't we do 2 more there?
Those look easy. Yeah, what's behind them? There's tons of room on this one.
This one, there's another part.
Are these ones? These ones are already drilled, eh? So you're just tapping them?
Just that one. This one here's got another part of the frame above it.
What? That's weird, eh? I'm taking notes because I got to do this too.
Same thing.
So what Jacob is doing there is he's tapping another pre-drilled hole in the frame, and there's one also over here that he will be drilling and tapping because it's not pre-drilled. So I'm assuming these variances are just due to the fact that we're rocking a Razor Turbo instead of a Razor 1000.
Yeah.
But besides that, everything seems to line up pretty good.
Yeah.
There you go. Get it. There we go.
You know how I like my thread locked. Hand fork these guys because there's not much meat on those. You don't want to strip them. Not that we'd know anything about that.
That is solid.
How did those conform into that? Nice.
Just checking the great 8.8 volts.
So they can take it.
That's good.
Looking good.
Now our front section.
Should be a piece of cake, let's hope. So we got our first front section on there. It hooks in there. These holes are slotted. Watch out behind you, Dave. These holes are slotted there.
And as you can see, the brackets we put on earlier, take a bigger diameter bolt.
The brackets that we installed earlier require the bigger diameter bolts.
Yeah.
As you can see, it covers that footwell area really well where there was no protection at all.
Yeah, this is an area that's really prone to getting hit with logs and
Right in
debris
here.
from the wheels and everything.
And now it's,
This adds so much safety that people omit.
yeah.
Remember that incident when you were riding and the log went through the floor and almost impaled your female passenger there?
Yes.
I like how they got the cutout for the floor drains, eh?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a big deal because usually you would just drain the floor right into the skid and it would just sit in there, right?
Yeah.
That's a really, whoa.
We're
That will
probably-
slide up the other one there. Oh man, that looks better already.
Oh, look at that.
Doesn't that just look awesome?
Doesn't that fit beautiful?
Are all the bolt holes lining up here for us?
Everything's lining up.
So the front section goes together great.
Oh yeah.
The only thing I'm looking at right here is this.
Yeah, because of the gusset, it kind of overlaps it.
Yeah, I remember personally in my old machine with a different skid that I slipped that under, but I don't think it'll work on this one.
No, not a big deal.
No.
Oh, it's gonna be tight really fine. We're gonna have to do.
Tell me to loosen this a bit.
So just gonna crack the T40s free,
Yep.
just so the brackets are easily movable.
Right next to the Nerf bar there, yeah.
So we fit it.
Gives a little bit of adjustment there.
Just does cover everything up nicely, even around the rocker here.
So you got these brackets,
Cool.
right? They slip up here on the frame.
Okay.
You can get it right in there.
Did you Loctite all of them, or just the rear?
Just the rear, because this one tends to come off quite a bit for service. The rear is going to be more of a permanent fixture on there. So I would go over it after a ride or two, just to make sure
Snug them up,
everything,
maybe,
you know, as the skid seats in, it might want to.
or might bend, or yeah.
A bend could make the hardware loose, possibly, right?
Or hard to get in and out later.
Yeah.
I remember my old Polaris skid plate was a little thinner material than this.
Yep.
And it was a pain in the butt to get back on after, because after it'd been squished so many
Yeah,
times.
it gets distorted.
I think here you've You're kind of Jake.
Yeah, I might have to move that.
Yeah, just loosen that one.
Yep. There you go. Nice snug fit.
Well, I'd say that's a tight fit. That's nice.
That's good.
Does that auto expert seal the front? Yep.
I'm liking it. Sure covers all the vitals under there nicely.
Oh man, I just noticed this. Look at you must have smacked something good.
Yeah, I know.
That's probably from when you did the control arm. Is this the side? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Well, it's doing its job.
It's doing its job. Look at that, eh? It's awesome. Okay, down we come.
Incorporated for the water drains. Is that like
Yeah.
incorporated for the water drains?
I like how it rolls over the side of the rocker to give you some rock, like some side protection too, eh? Should we keep some of these as spares?
I would.
They do. I think we'll keep them anyways.
Oh, there's handprints all underneath it. What the heck?
You won't see them in a minute, don't worry.
I was kidding, dude.
Julian, get a little shot of the side where you can see how it rolls up the side of the rocker.
Oh, that's a nice feature there, isn't it? Look at
Yeah.
how they cut it there.
It's
For,
nice
like,
notch
they
here
position
for add-ons, other sliders, right?
Yeah, it's notched. It's
Protects your fender edge there and your footwell.
yeah. We'll get some nice shots of this thing when it's outside too.
It's a nice product. Looks good.
Yeah, it went on well. For the next step of the install, we're going to put my Razor on the hoist since it has stock control arms in the front, and we're going to put the control arm guards on. Like we mentioned earlier, you can't run the control arm guards if you're running aftermarket A-arms. So Dave, you're saying you got a blower on here, the OSP racing blower? Oh wow. Wow. You need to remove the stock plastic CV boot deflector cover or the debris guard using a T25 Torx. Now you need to mount the A-arm guards to the A-arms using the supplied clamp brackets. The brackets will clamp the A-arm guards to the A-arm tubes using the bolts as you torque them down. They're pretty sturdy and secure. They don't rattle or anything like that once they're on, and they go on pretty easy. I suggest mounting them loosely first, and then you can position them into place and torque them down. Here you get a better view of how the outermost towards the wheel bracket looks. What it does is it squishes between the control arm and the A-arm guard, and it pulls it together just like these do. These brackets have a contour cut into them, and they go around the A-arm tube and also pull the A-arm guard tightly up against that, preventing any rattles and making a really nice tight fit. There's 2 of the contoured black brackets per A-arm and 1 of those flat threaded ones. Watch, it's just, this is so wide because of the rad flares out here. On the 1000, this would have been here. Remember, you could see all the shop here. This was never there. Now it's here to cover the rad.
So if you follow that line right there.
I don't know if I can just unbend it. The front grille section of the RZR Turbo is a lot bigger than the 2016 Turbo and the RZR 1000 XP. The radiator and just that whole entire front section is much larger and wider, so that front plate wouldn't fit. Here we're trying to see if we can still get that front diff plate to fit. Later on, I eventually did end up getting it fitted, and you'll see that a little later in the video here. What you're noticing right now is once I installed the skid plate on my machine when I got home, I noticed that because of my aftermarket Super ATV Nerf bars, I had a gap and the brackets weren't sitting flush against the skid plate. There was a big gap and an angle on it, as you see here. What I ended up realizing is Dave's Nerf bars, although they're Super ATV, mount slightly differently. So what you see me here is I had to mark out a section of the aluminum underbody skid plate here, and I had to cut that out. Cutting that out allowed me to clear all that, and then the skid plate will sit flush like it's supposed to. Removing that doesn't impact the integrity at all. It's still just as strong as it was. It's just a clearance issue thing. So once I did that, everything was 100%. So when you're running all sorts of different aftermarket components, you never know which ones are going to interact symbiotically together and which ones are going to kind of clash and work against each other. So this was an easy fix, and hopefully if you guys run into some problems similar to this will help you. So now you're going to see the entire skid plate installed from the bottom. I managed to get the front section on without many issues. There was a little bit of a gap between the Dragonfire gusset plate you can see there and the front section of the skid plate, the diff guard there, so I just laid some thick pieces of rubber inside to prevent that from caving in. The rest of the plates went on great. With the little bit of modification I did to the side, it made the plates line up nice and flush, and everything looks awesome. We went out and we tried these plates on our first voyage to West Virginia, and they got a real good workout. The skid plate took a thrashing, but it did its job. There wasn't any damage that would have caused the skid plate to fail. There were some big hits, but we managed to straighten most of that damage out with just some minor hand tools. Overall, the skid plate mounts great. It's a really nice product. The fit and finish is top notch. Everything looks amazing. I totally recommend this product. There's a lot of debate between the benefits of UHMW skid plates versus aluminum, but we'll save that debate for another day. We hope this video helped you out. If you did enjoy this video, then we'd like to ask you to take a moment and subscribe to our channel. As well as subscribing to this channel, we'd like to invite you to subscribe to our main channel, AdrenalineJunkieProd, where we take these products, like the skid plate, and we thrash them on the trail and see how they do in the real world. Check out our channel, where we're going to post a longer term review video of this skid plate and an update to show you guys how it looks after a few months of use and a few heavy hits. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.